Hey everyone, Shabby here, and welcome back to our next episode of the SWE NXT Universe Mode. We are back with episode number 8, and tonight we'll crown our number 1 contender for the North American Championship and see quite a few new names. Here is our first match of the evening. Lars Sullivan takes on Kassius Ohno. And here he is then, Lars Sullivan. The first time we're going to see him on this year's game. We didn't really touch him much on last year's game either. He's an interesting one. He's a bit of an enigma. I don't quite know where to use him at this point in time. Of course, he is part of NXT, so part of this roster. I think Carnage might be a good place for him at some point as well, but we'll see how things pan out. And here is his opponent then, of course, the Young Knockout Kid? Was that his nickname, I think? Back on the indie scene? Either way, it's Kassius Ohno. And here we go, and the bell goes. We are underway. Interesting one, this. It's two guys who have not really had much of a chance to show what they can do. I don't quite understand the idea with Kassius Ohno in NXT. It means, obviously, they let him go originally. They brought him back, which I thought was fantastic, but now it's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? Now they're sort of not really using him very much, and just looking at his rating on this game, that really shocked me, that did, to be honest. So Lars Sullivan is an 80, which is quite impressive, and that's effectively a big man in the, well, it's a decent level for the main roster. You're probably looking at about just under Intercontinental Championship wise, but that's pretty interesting. Kassius Ohno at 73. 73. Which I'll give you a little bit of indication is lower than majority. I mean, Oney Lorcan, who we'll see in the next match, is 77. So saying Oney Lorcan is 3 points or 4 points better, I should say, than Kassius Ohno. I mean, Noam 69, who will also be in this episode against Oney Lorcan, which is pretty low down, really. But he's still a much more young up-and-comer. For Kassius Ohno to be that low, I'm a bit surprised, really. It just shows that we don't really have a huge amount planned for him at this point in time, by the looks of it. I think he needs to move up to the main roster, to be honest. And I think a tag team with himself and Cesaro, of course, the video went around online a lot long ago now, a couple of weeks back, of Cesaro randomly turning up at an NXT show and himself and Kassius Ohno teaming up against Adam Cole, which I think would be an awesome thing to happen. I mean, I've still always had the idea of Ohno debuting on the main roster as either being a third member of the Shield, maybe a heel Shield against Roman Reigns, maybe, I don't know, with Ohno taking Reigns' place, which it was originally supposed to be. If you don't know that, the original plan was pitched with Ohno, Rollins and Ambrose. That was the original plan, but they decided to change it and bring on Roman Reigns with them. So yeah, that happened. But my other idea of bringing Ohno up to the main roster would be to... I always had this idea of maybe Sheamus and Cesaro holding the tag team championships, and maybe the little bit of tension growing between the two of them, even though they keep holding the championships, and maybe they decide they can no longer work together, so they both go and find their own partners and have a match to have the championship, basically. So I don't know, Sheamus would come out with some random person who thinks he'd be a good tag team partner, and then Cesaro could just bring out Kassius Ohno. I think that'd be a great thing to do, but we'll have to wait and see what happens in the future. I feel like Ohno needs to move to the main roster because NXT doesn't seem to have a lot for him at this point in time, and I think Lars has a big slam for him there and gets the pin for the 1, 2, only a 2 count. Kassius Ohno kicking out just about. I think he put everything he had into that kick out. He looked like he was half dead there, to be honest. Ohno fighting straight back there with the arm breaker. And now Ohno taking Sullivan up into a powerbomb. Wow, jackknife powerbomb. Lars Sullivan's pretty big to jackknife. And Sullivan is back up and he's rocky. Discus big boot by Kassius Ohno from the corner. But that's not all. He continues the assault here on Sullivan, looking for that neck breaker. Releases into the forearm to the back of the head. We've seen that many a time from Kassius Ohno into the pin. Will it be enough for the 1, the 2, and the 3? And it is. Kassius Ohno does defeat Lars Sullivan. So maybe Kassius Ohno should be looked at a little bit higher in our NXT Universe mode than necessarily WWE and the real NXT look at him. But I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. Of course, big episode, like I said. We're going to be crowning the #1 contender for the North American Championship here this evening. That'll be Luke Harper versus Elias versus Keith Lee. 3 men we haven't seen so far in this Universe mode. But yeah, like I said, I think Kassius Ohno should be looked at a little bit higher at the card moving forward. I mean, in our next episode, we are going to have a 10-man rumble to crown the #1 contender for the NXT Championship. But to be honest, that looks pretty stacked already. We'll have to keep an eye on this for Ohno then. I think there's some more stuff that he can do. I think he could very much get himself in the championship position. Of course, we've still got a good 15, 16 episodes before we hit Shabby Mania, so I wouldn't worry too much about it at this point in time. But otherwise, Kassius Ohno, strong victory for him over Lars Sullivan. Can he keep the form growing? And here is our second match of the evening. Then Noam, the current #1 contender for the UK Championship, takes on Oney Lorcan. And here he is then, Noam, of course, won the Fatal 4 #1 contendership last week, which I wasn't quite expecting before I made this match, I must admit. Of course, he defeated Drew McIntyre, Jack Gallagher, and Killian Dane. A real surprise, but he's still scheduled in for this match here, and he'll want to win this to continue building his momentum, because in a few weeks' time, he will be fighting for that UK Championship. Actually, in 2 episodes' time, we'll be fighting for that UK Championship against Tyler Bate. But Oney Lorcan is not going to be an easy opponent whatsoever. Very, very strong competitor. Here he is then, Oney Lorcan, of course, formerly Biff Busick from the indie scene. I did meet him a couple of times, actually, in the UK. He's a really nice guy. And here we go then. Yeah, Lorcan is going to be a very, very difficult opponent here for Noam, but I really want to see this match. I mean, 2 guys who are on the smaller side. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Oney Lorcan... I think Oney Lorcan has been on 205 Live once or twice, hasn't he? It wouldn't surprise me if we get more of him. I think he was on 205 Live before the tag team with himself and Danny Burch really started to take off. And I do want to do that at some point. I'm just waiting for a good Danny Burch on the Community Creations. I'm a big fan of those two together. I think one of my favourite matches from this year was actually the Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch match against Red Dragon. I thought that match was great. I really enjoyed that, and I'd like to see some more of it. But again, I don't know. I think just like Kassius Ohno, I don't know what they have planned for Biff Busick, really. I don't know what they have planned for Oney Lorcan, really, in NXT. I mean, the tag team thing's done well. It's run its course, but will it continue to do so? I mean, the NXT tag team division at the moment is pretty stacked. With War Raiders, Red Dragon, Undisputed Era, should we call them. Heavy Machinery, the Street Profits. You've got TM61 are back with a new name now. I can't remember what they're called now. They're called... it's not Iconic, is it? Because that's the other ones. I can't remember what they're called now. So yeah, it's a very, very strong tag team division. And with only so many matches per show, I think they're going to struggle to really get a lot of exposure. So I wonder whether it might be time to start moving some of these guys up. And the problem is, I know the main roster is a little bit overstocked at the moment as well. But think of the stress on these guys the main roster are having. I mean, they were in Australia a few days ago, and then they're doing a house show in the USA the next day. And it must be taking its toll on these guys' bodies. So maybe overstocking the main roster is not a terrible thing, but at the same time, you've got to make sure everyone gets TV time and everyone gets utilised correctly. And maybe there has been rumours about SmackDown moving up to 3 hours as well, which I know the argument with Raw moving up to 3 hours was people saying it's too much, but I don't think it's too much. If you can put out decent content, I don't think... I mean, if Raw put out decent content, I'd watch 12 hours a week. If it was good and enjoyable to watch, as would everyone. It's the way it is. If they put out 2 hours of great content, it's great. If they put out 3 hours of great content, it's great. So I don't think they can blame the time on that. I think the problem is that they're trying to push... They're trying to push merchandise rather than a good program. That's the problem they've got at this point in time. So yeah, I'd like to see a few more people move up to the main roster. Either that or I'd like to see NXT expanded. I mean, to 2 hours a week rather than 1 hour a week. I think that would be good. I mean, the development center itself is so full of wrestlers at the moment. I think only like 5% of who WWE own for NXT actually have ever been on TV. I mean, 95% of them are just there training every single day. And don't get me wrong, 70-75% of those people are probably not ready for TV time. So it is right what they've done. But at the same time, I'd like to just get guys that only Lorcan a bit more solid TV time. And nice, there it is, the big neck breaker. And Noam does not want a loss here to really scupper his momentum for that match against Tyler Bate. But he has lost, and only Lorcan does pick up the win. Only Lorcan looking very impressive in this universe mode as well. And hopefully at some point we can give him a little bit of a push. I'd like to see that. I mean, I'm a big fan of Oney. I'd like to see him get that push and maybe have an opportunity at the North American Championship. Or, of course, the number one contendership for that is coming up next. And both Oney Lorcan and Kassius Ohno could have been part of that. But we've gone for Elias, Luke Harper and Keith Lee. And here it is, the main event of the evening. As I just mentioned, number one contendership for the North American Championship, Elias, or Harper. It's just called Harper now, isn't he? Luke Harper and Keith Lee. Got a very square head, isn't he? Why is he so square? Oh, that's Luke Harper, not Elias. Oh, well, there you go. I'm a massive fan of Luke Harper. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you know that. I really think that he is an absolutely underutilized star. He had one good singles run where he was Intercontinental Champion, a great feud with Dolph Ziggler and a great ladder match as part of that feud, and I really want to see more of that. And I think with the injury to Eric Rowan, maybe we might see more of a push for Luke Harper in the future. It's time to walk with Elias. Again, I don't think we utilised Elias. I don't think we utilised Elias very much in the previous game, so this is a good chance for us to get the best out of him, and be interesting to see how he gets on in this match and whether he gets an opportunity, of course, Ricochet, the North American Champion. Wow, that's actually a really bad call, isn't it? Unfortunately, the good old-fashioned problems continue from WWE 2K18 onto this one. The face scan here for Keith Lee has not actually made it onto his face, which is a shame. He looks so good in the actual loading screen, and now it looks really rough. Look at that face, it's really poor. Okay, well, there are some good Keith Lees out there, so this is why, there we go, this is a bit of a learning lesson. This is why we're going for NXT first, because the cores on the very early part of the game are not fantastic. There's still a lot of bugs with the game, so having the majority of the people on the game was always going to be the key for this. I will get a new Keith Lee after this episode, but unfortunately the face scan on this one doesn't seem to want to load. So here we go then, number one contendership for the North American Championship on the line. Keith Lee, apparently, Luke Harper and Elias. Straight Elias in with a running knee. And just I was saying earlier about the ratings on the game, the rating system. I was saying about how I was stunned how low the rating for Kassius Ohno was in an 73, sorry, which I was pretty shocked about. Another one I was shocked about, but quite happy, of course, was Luke Harper. He is actually on as an 84, I think, which is very, very good. 84 is good enough to be sort of, if you look at it right, it's sort of 83 to 87 is sort of like the Intercontinental and United States Championship sort of level, and then probably 88 and above is main championship level. So it just shows that they do actually believe in him, and he does have some good abilities. I think I've not actually checked Eric Rowan, but I think Eric Rowan's probably like mid-70s, to be honest. That's what I'd have him on, probably a 75, 76. But this one I think is pretty good. So yeah, I'm a big fan. I do like Luke Harper. As I said before, I think everyone knows how much a fan I am of the man. I want to see more of him in a singles capacity. There was some rumours knocking around that he would be potentially even going after AJ for the World Championship. But that hasn't happened as of yet. But I would love to see something on them sort of lines. I think he deserves it. He's been given a lot of weird and wonderful things to do over the years. From the Wyatt family, which obviously worked very, very well, and moving forward now into his singles run, and then moving forward now into the Bludgeon Brothers, which I read an interview the other day, and he sort of said when it was mentioned, and Vince said, "We want you to come up with these massive hammers. We're going to call you the Bludgeon Brothers." That Harper's first instinct was, "What the hell has Vince been smoking?" It's quite a funny little comment, but it's worked out. I think Harper said that he didn't think it was going to, and then all of a sudden it just clicked in his mind and went, "Yes, this is actually going to work." And to be honest, it's done pretty well. They got the tag team championships, which isn't the first time they'd actually won the tag team championships, even though they've been a pretty effective and strong tag team for quite a few many years. Yeah, it was the first time they'd really been given the run with the belts, which was pretty cool. But yeah, I just want to see some more, especially since Harper's on his own now, with Rowan out injured. I just want to see some more, really, from Harper, and this could be his big chance to sort of branch away. Either way, enough of my random ramblings. Back onto the match, which is very back and forth at the moment. Elias and Keith Lee working together to take out Harper. See, Keith Lee's moveset's pretty good. But I did see it was an issue. I follow quite a few of the core creators on Twitter now, which is great fun because you can see a lot of the work they're up to. But it was mentioned straight away on... I got the game on the early release because I got the special edition. But it was mentioned straight away that unfortunately a lot of the same issues were occurring. And it's very, very lazy from Ukes and 2K to not fix the issues. And this is what a few people mentioned about me going a bit crazy over big head mode and that sort of stuff. And the reason I did, I don't mind if they want to put big head mode in, I've got no problem. But my issue was they spent time developing these extra things when they had so many things they needed to fix. I mean, that's a problem that's been going on for 2 years now already. It was on 2K16 and 2K17 where sometimes you'd download a core and the logos wouldn't arrive. It's something to do with, on the core side, if they replace a logo with a new logo, then for some reason it doesn't give you either when you download it. And it has been a problem that's been ongoing for, yeah, a couple of games already. Now it's into a third game. And these problems should be fixed by now. They really should. It shouldn't be something that just keeps on happening year after year. It's almost like they've gone, well, people are going to buy it. They'll buy the special edition. They'll buy stupid amounts of extra money to get all the DLC throughout the year as well, even though we should just be giving it to them. But it's just the way they are, I suppose. They're money grabbers. I know I'm cynical, but it's the way. You'd sort of look at them to see what they're doing. But yeah, that's just one of my problems. I want them to fix the problems. If the game was... I spend the money, I don't mind. It's the way of the world now. It's DLC and all that sort of stuff is just how games run now. But if it was working right, I would not mind at all. Nice. Submission is the Gargano escape layer, locked in by Harper on Elias. And Elias does break free. Keith Lee, for some reason, just staring it down, deciding to spend a couple of seconds and just recuperate and allow the other two to take each other out. But yeah, there are some problems, as we saw the other day with a tag team match not working, so we're going to have to go back to Tornado tag team matches, which we'll be back on to next episode. Oh, discus lariat there by Harper. That should be enough, you know. I mean, Elias is down. Keith Lee gets discus lariat. Oh, and Keith Lee kicked out. Wow. I'm surprised with that, to be honest. I thought that was going to be done and dusted there for a moment. Elias now dropping Keith Lee neck first across that rope and again into the pin. Not Elias, sorry, Luke Harper. Elias is still grounded. So yeah, don't get me wrong, they have made some improvements this year, and Universe Mode has had a few like life improvements that should have been there for a while, such as, of course, the more championships on a brand. God, Harper's just closed on the back of the referee. Yeah, the more championships on a brand, I think, is definitely a massive improvement, but it's something that should have been around for a long time. But then they give you stuff and then they take it away at the same time. I'm like, why do they? I don't know if I mentioned the other day, they've made it so now elimination matches can only be tag team. They can't have singles elimination, so you can't have a fatal 4-way elimination anymore, which is a match that those of you who've been watching for a couple of years will know that I love. I always utilise my fatal 4-way eliminations or triple threat. Or this year, when I saw you could do an 8-man singles match, I thought, yeah, 8-man singles elimination, we could use that here and there, maybe for #1 contendership or some big stuff. It would have been pretty cool, but nope, we can't do that now because they've taken elimination away from singles at Holy Tag now, which is very annoying. So I'll have to try and see. Well, I'm sure we can make some good stuff, but then they've added triple threat and fatal 4-way tag team matches, which is fantastic. I really enjoy that. So it's a rough with a smooth. It's never going to be perfect, is it? But well, that's a bit of an iffy pile. Every year it gets slightly better, doesn't it? So hopefully next year we'll get everything we want. Still no GM mode yet, right? But you know. Keith Lee, big boot to the side of the head of Elias. Harper slides back in, as does Keith Lee, and the two of them are up. Nice backbreaker by Keith Lee. I'm going to stop moaning now. And but again, if you have any like comments on what I've been saying, Keith Lee wins. Wow. Someone needs to go and download a better Keith Lee now then. If you have any comments on just the sort of I've been saying, am I just bitter, or am I expecting too much, or with the amount of money are we spending, we should be getting more than what we're getting. Does that make sense? But I don't know, let me know what you think. It's been very, very mixed reviews I've seen online. Yeah, very, very mixed reviews. Some people are saying that the graphics and the gameplay and the AI and that has not really improved that much, and they've obviously spent a lot of time on their showcase mode and the My Career mode and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I was hoping to see a few more sort of. Don't get me wrong, there are a few AI improvements like the count outs and that, and but yeah, like I said earlier on, the face scans not working or not downloading properly is an issue, and this is a perfect example. We saw Keith Lee's face scan in the actual matchup screen, and then when you come into the actual match, it disappears. But we'll get a new Keith Lee downloaded, one that works, and hopefully, when he goes to the North American Championship in a few episodes' time, we'll be looking pretty good. Right, so next episode is going to be an interesting one, actually. We have got a triple threat women's match of 3 women that are going to make their first appearances on the roster. All cores as well, so not actually people on the game, so that should be interesting for you. We're going to have a Tornado tag team match between the Authors of Pain and Heavy Machinery. And then the main event in main event in tomorrow's episode is going to be a 10-man rumble for the #1 contendership for the NXT Championship. So I hope you have enjoyed this episode. If you have, then please do hit a like and of course subscribe if you want to see some more. I've been Shabby Gamer. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you very, very soon for our next episode of SWE NXT. Bye.